Hello, and welcome to my first work in progress video. This semester, I'm making a 2D pixel art game about a young female detective trying to build a reputation in Victorian era London by working on a case that's completely out of her depth. The story starts with one of the Queen's corgi dogs gone missing. The Queen's servant then comes to our main character, the unknown detective Sarah, for help, and asks her to find the dog in secret. The ambitious detective decides to become an amateur dog walker to investigate on this case despite having zero knowledge of dogs. One thing that inspires my game the most is the 2020 mystery film Enola Holmes. The movie follows the adventure of Sherlock Holmes' intelligent and independent younger sister. As the lesser known sibling of Sherlock Holmes, Enola is a strong, capable, and inspiring character who defies the gender norms and social expectations over time. This movie has helped me a lot in designing the character development of Detective Sarah and the background of the game. It's also a unique and refreshing take on a mystery genre, with a focus on a witty and empowering protagonist. I've spent week one fleshing out the story and refining the details to give it a proper motive and an interesting conflict. The story is going to be a linear narrative, and the gameplay is that you're going to walk the dog while keeping a good balance as it drags you in all directions. Which is pretty simple, that's why I want to show a bit of a change in character for the protagonist from the beginning to the end. I've also learned from the feedback that I should try to keep the story concise by utilizing the visual instead of words, so that I can save more time for the actual game. In week 2, I have started working on two things. One is the level design, and the other one is the storyboard. After week 1, I had a fairly good plot to start with. However, the game mechanism seemed to stop at being a dog walking game with a wobbly controller. So I wanted to figure out the level design for my game. Is there going to be a time limit? What happens after the walk? What if the player failed to keep the balance? In the end, I decided to create 2 to 3 levels with a linear structure. After each successful walk, the player can move on to a new area walking a different dog. If they fail the level, they can simply try again. At the end, they will be able to find the missing dog and the game ends. The storyboard shows the most important events in the game, and I'll be using it as a visual guide when I draw in pixels. From the top left corner, the first frame shows the corgi digging its way out of the palace. Then the servant talks to Detective Sarah, asking her to find the dog. Then she starts her dog walker business and starts investigating the city with different dogs. In the end, she returns the dog just in time for dinner, and no one suspects a thing. The feedback from this week has been really helpful in terms of deciding what type of game I'm making. I've been feeling obligated to create a complicated mystery solving case because the main character is, indeed, a detective. But I think it can just be a silly little game showing how the sophisticated detective makes a fool of herself while not being able to resist all this cuteness. Overall, I think I learned a lot from the 2 rapid iteration workshops. If I can use one word to sum up my 2 weeks practice, it's pruning. I have cut down on a lot of contents that are unnecessary to either the story or the scope of the game. And I'm happy to do so because it makes me realize the problem early so I can focus on the more important things. Over the next week, I'll start writing a simple script according to my storyboard and start working on the movement system in Unity to test it out. Currently, there's nothing I need to stop doing, but I will continue to pay attention to the scope and follow the project timeline. And I'm looking forward to what I'm going to create in the next week. And thanks for listening.